When I was 29, my only female friend at the time was dating a bad boy. And she would always come to me complaining, why can't this guy be more like you? Meanwhile, I'm over here thinking, I'm more like me. I am me. Just stayed me. How come us nice guys are always left standing on the sideline thinking, this ain't fair? Unlike that bad boy, I was conflict avoidant with every fiber of my body. I preferred being liked over being respected. That's how much I feared causing offense. What's wrong with a guy who prefers being liked over being respected and not causing offense? In this video, I'm going to prove to you why choosing love over respect is not actually a preference. It's an emotional ability we did not learn. As you know, I used to be emotionally dysfunctional until age 33, until I finally figured out what to do about it. How can you fix your emotional dysfunction too? Today, we'll focus on understanding the dysfunction layer by layer. And then next week, I'll give you the exact system that I built to finally be able to respect myself. So let's peel back the 4 layers of self-sabotage thinking. But before we do, if you want my free PDF guide with the 2 first steps to break your vicious avoidance habits, get it in my free school community link below. I've used the term shitty citizens before. Today I'm going a step further. Us nice guys are some of the worst human beings out there. We embody the victim mindset like few others. And that's saying something. One of the staple ingredients of Western society's victimhood pandemic are hyper-agreeable, hypersensitive men who lack the masculine core that women need to be attracted to them. And if you don't like the idea of women need to be attracted, try on women need to feel safe and let me know how that fits. Female attraction starts with feeling safe and secure. As I've mentioned before, between 50 to 80% of men are invisible to women as viable mates. Viable mates are value givers. Us nice guys are value takers. We think we're givers, and then we resent girls when they don't give us what we want. So we blame the world for being unfair. Self-victimizing people are some of the biggest assholes out there. For me, there's no question. The victimhood pandemic has been the defining problem of the Western world for quite some time now. It's far from being just a nice guy thing, but this being a nice guy channel, let's talk about how we fall prey to victimhood. The education system socializes boys to be much more agreeable and conflict avoidant than is natural. Expressions of masculinity like aggression, competitiveness, and risk-taking are conditioned out of boys. We pathologize, label, or even medicate them. Boys are much more prone to ADHD. Rough and tumble play, for example, helps the young male brain learn emotional regulation, problem solving, and social rules within peer groups. When we see the disastrous results later in adult men who are emotionally dysfunctional on all fronts, we are dumbfounded. It's easy to blame society. However, that's falling prey to the same parasitic mindset we're bemoaning. Blaming the victimhood pandemic for having made us weak is not going to help us improve. Every nice guy is responsible himself. The real question is, why do we think we're victims? Victimhood comes from a place of emotional dysfunction. It means we lack a fleshed out spectrum of emotional abilities that mature adults typically possess. The result is low self-worth. We use girls to try and get emotional credits from them. Tell me I'm good. Tell me I'm okay. We say things like, I'm nothing without you. When you read that in a romance novel as a 14-year-old girl, that's pretty cool. When you get that as a text from a guy and you're a woman, it is not cool. You're nothing without her? Where is this coming from? You're looking for a sense of identity from her. Another human being cannot give you that. The expectation that this should work comes from a place of deep confusion. We expect things in return for doing nice things, but a true gift expects nothing. We're not gifting, we're bartering. When our investment doesn't pay off, we start resenting. They're withholding our drug, or so we think. Does anyone really like their drug dealer? Of course they call him all the time because they need to get high. But why are we so hurt? Why are we so devastated? We weren't really giving, we were taking in an undercover way. We're addicted to female validation. So, is that too much to ask? Can a guy ask for a little validation around here no more? No. Our paradigm of niceness is fundamentally transactional and creepy. If I am nice enough to you, hopefully one day you will like me enough to want to have sex with me. We confuse what's attractive behavior because we're not fluent in expressions of masculine emotions. When you don't speak certain emotions because you never learned them, you're not going to feel like an interesting human being to another person. So if we dig deeper, where is this lack coming from? And why do we need validation from girls? Because we first learned how to get female love from our mother. To get mommy's love, we just need to be sweet, nice, and an all-around good boy. We think love equals compliance. The problem is seeking approval by being compliant at all costs, both male or female approval. And that's why we're also struggling with asserting ourselves around men, by the way. Being compliant at all costs is a terrible emotional coping strategy. So we need the assertiveness, boundary setting, and self-validation that comes from father love. This can come from our actual father, but also from a non-biological father figure or male role model. Our emotional dysfunction comes from only running on nice guy mode, which is but a fraction of the emotional spectrum to be a well-rounded man, a well-rounded person. But the confusion runs deeper than that. We actually believe that we have no business being around girls if we don't get to be needy to them. In other words, the only thing girls are good for is satisfying our neediness, giving us sexual validation. And that is fucked up. Where is this confused mindset coming from? By and large, when we were raised to believe I'm loved only when I make others happy, love equals compliance, it was inevitable that we should struggle with being ourselves or developing an identity, whether our mother's love was intended as conditional or not. Technically, it is possible to learn self-respect and boundaries from our mother's love, but these are two emotional abilities that are spiritually associated with masculinity, i.e. father love. That's why young men today are so confused. We honestly think we're being good and sweet and considerate. We really do. And the sense of betrayal and victimhood when girls don't reciprocate is eating us alive. We're torturing ourselves because we're convinced we're doing the right thing. We think we're giving and girls are just taking advantage of us. However, when we thought we were giving, were we doing so freely? Were we giving just to give, or were we giving to get? Were we expecting something in return? When I first started with Cold Approach, I was still watching porn way too much, so my outcome dependence was super obvious every time I walked up to someone. Understanding my emotions was a thing that came slowly. If we're being honest, we're not trying to get something little at all. Take away some of my intrinsic shame. Tell me I'm lovable. Tell me I have value. And when she doesn't reciprocate, it's like, I invested in you. You took what I offered and didn't pay me back. You're a terrible person. That's toxic. Confusing taking for giving is downstream of no self-respect and no boundaries. Luckily, I came to my senses before checking out from society, but it's easy to see why a lot of nice guys do. They don't see any other way forward than to avoid people, typically in the artificial world of screens. Problem is, how long can that last? We're social animals. I'm sorry. No, I cannot go to my grandfather's 80th birthday party. That's me time and I need to go to the gym. I have to engage in self-care now. People pleasing is an emotional dysfunction and a complete misunderstanding of what it means to give. Recovering from it is not in saying, that's it. I'm tired of being a people pleaser and it's toxic for me to do people favors. The recovery from people pleasing is learning to give altruistically, for fun and for free. And that's downstream of respecting ourselves and having boundaries. More on how to put that into practice in next week's video. Therefore, mommy love alone, even a healthy form of it, is often not enough for a fleshed out masculine identity. But what do mother love and father love boil down to at the core? Let's dive into the nitty-gritty of respect. In their spiritual archetype, self-love comes from our mother, while self-respect comes from our father. They're two sides of the same coin, which is self-worth, but they manifest differently. Without self-respect, we're liable to struggle with knowing who we are. And that's because we lack the emotional ability to say no. That's all it comes down to. Self-respect is a misunderstood concept. Most people conflate respect with love. All over you hear, love yourself. But love is not all you need. In fact, what you primarily need is respect. Respect is more valuable than love, probably because it's in short supply. Think of it this way. Loving yourself and others comes from doing. It comes from saying yes to yourself and to others. To love means to give, and giving is external, which means it can be noticed by others. Respecting yourselves and others comes from not doing. It comes from saying no to yourself and others. To respect means to withhold, and withholding is internal, which means it cannot be noticed by others. I'm comfortable not doing. I'm just going to sit here and no one will even know what I'm not doing while I'm sitting here not doing anything. It's more difficult to not do. It's not flashy. It's not glamorous. Nobody notices. There's no praise. And yet when we give it up, i.e. the moment we do stop with the not doing, it is immediately center stage and a huge problem. Respect is the foundation before love enters the picture. And that is exactly what human beings struggle with so much. And of course, nice guys, most of all. When we're desperate for others to notice what we do, we go into overdoing mode. We start gushing this warped version of love. It's this desperate call, look at me, look at me. When we have self-love, we say yes to ourselves. But when do we say no to ourselves? Don't we have things we won't do? Don't we have boundaries? A relationship can't survive as long as it has respect, even if it has no love. Love can come from respect. However, without respect, a relationship will not survive. Again, when you don't have respect, you don't even really have love. Respect cannot come from love. Despite most people out there preaching self-love, now you know why we don't actually love ourselves, because we don't respect ourselves. The ability to withhold, to not do, holds greater emotional weight than the ability to do, regardless if we're in a relationship with ourselves or someone else. When we can wrap our heads around this idea, we'll be one step closer to accepting not being liked by someone. If you're serious about overcoming your crippling fear of causing offense in the next 6 weeks and want to work with me directly, click the link below to book a free consultation call. Now that we've laid the foundation of understanding, we're ready to implement. Next week, I'll tackle how we can begin to respect ourselves step by step. Thank you for watching until the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you then.